Yo, what's up, everybody? What's going on? We are here checking out live September 4th, 2024. This is the Midweek Report. That's right, the Boxing Source Midweek Report. As we are here, on Wednesdays, scheduled for 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, here to, talk about, what has been going on in the sport of boxing, what's upcoming in the week in the sport of boxing, and also other news and notes that are coming through here on the airwaves. So, big ups for everyone that are listening live here and also checking out the replay. And, like I said, you give us a comment, you can support the Boxing Source, hit the subscribe button, whether it's on YouTube or it's on Rumble, or if you're looking on Twitch or anything like that, you can support the Boxing Source by hitting the like button or hitting the subscribe button. Now, we had yesterday, of course, the undisputed super bantamweight title fights there between Naoya Inoue and TJ Doheny. And come on, man. I mean, I'm just being real with y'all, man. What we saw is what I expected. What we saw was what I expected. Was that Inoue was going to just do what he needed to do in order to defeat TJ Doheny. Now, I mean, props to Doheny. I mean, he was, a little bit competitive there, for a couple of rounds. Had a little bit of pop behind his punch, which, was expected there. And, gave Inoue a little bit of issues that there, within those first couple of rounds. You know what I mean? But for Inoue, it was something to the point where it was almost like he got some stuff, but he don't have enough to beat me. After going into second gear, improving on his efficiency, landing punches, scoring punches to the body and upstairs, it was pretty much a wrap there for TJ Doheny, right? And and it ended up being pretty much a beatdown for those last few rounds or whatever it is, man. The fourth round, the fifth round, the sixth round pretty much was like a beatdown of sorts. You feel me? And I feel bad for TJ Doheny, man. Like I said, he pretty much like hurt himself, during those last couple of rounds there. But he had punches landed, to his back. Pretty much, started with the scoring to the body from Naoya Inoue, and he would like either throw like a right hand to the body, and then come around with the hook, with the left hook, or just do a lead left hook, And the thing is, when Naoya Inoue threw that punch to the body and then came back with a hook, you seen like Doheny just crouched down and then he just went over to his side. And when he went over to his side, that's when you saw the left hand basically land on TJ Doheny and pretty much like land on his back. And he was like, "Oh, my back, oh, my neck, my back, my neck and my back." And it was pretty much a wrap after that. I don't even know why he even stepped out there for the seventh round, because it was even more punishment for TJ Doheny in the seventh round. And it didn't even take that long, man. It didn't even take that long, for that seventh round to be ended up stopping, as they pretty much called it due to injury. And you seen TJ Doheny pretty much walking with a limp out there. But listen, after those first few rounds where he really didn't have much, for Naoya Inoue, it was pretty much all over. At least he made it a little bit competitive. I mean, you've seen past a couple of fights here and there with Marlon Tapales and Luis Neri, kind of like give a little bit of issues there for Naoya Inoue, but he had been able to respond to those and end up stopping these opponents. You feel me? And this is the same thing that you had right here with TJ Doheny, but it was just like, hey man, he didn't really have much of a shot. So it ended up being a 7th round TKO victory in favor of Naoya Inoue for him to defend those undisputed super bantamweight titles, and now he is 28-0 with 25 wins by way of knockout. Yes, he is there, of course, within the top 3 pound for pound in the Boxing Source pound for pound rankings. currently have him at number 2. We had, of course, Alexander Usyk is at number 1. Of course, he had the win over Tyson Fury to become undisputed heavyweight champion. And below Naoya Inoue at number 3, right, is Terrence Crawford. And Terrence Crawford, recently defeated Ismael Barroso for the WBA and WBO interim super welterweight title. So, a lot of people interchange, those guys 1 through 3, but I have, how it is as it is. Usyk number 1, Inoue number 2, Terrence Crawford number 3, and that's pretty much, how I got it, right? Now with Naoya Inoue here at 122, right? Now, thing about it is, man, it's like, what's out there for him at 122? I hinted at this on the Boxing Source podcast on Sunday. As I was previewing this particular fight, I'm like, look, he has a lot of options there at 126 pounds. And, after this fight with TJ Doheny, you had, of course, our guy there, Bob Arum. He's like, this guy is a superstar here in Japan. But what we're going to do at Top Rank, we're going to have something for him in December. And then we have a big celebration in Las Vegas in 2025. So whatever you're saying there. So looks like Bob Arum is planning for Naoya Inoue to make it an appearance back here in the U.S. in 2025. I mean, he had his last appearance, back in 2021 at Virgin Hotels in Las Vegas. Like, that was pretty much when everything was trying to get back into gear over here in the U.S. He had that fight against Jason Maloney at the bubbling MGM Grand. So there were like no fans out there, for that particular fight. So he really hasn't had one of those marquee fights here in Las Vegas as of yet. So, with Bob Arum, he wants to have Naoya Inoue in a showcase fight here in the U.S. Now, Inoue has, visited the U.S. here recently as of a few months ago. And, my guy, Matt of Brunch Boxing had brought it up here with the article that was on Brunch Boxing a couple of months ago, right? And, he, Inoue had a whole lot of attention in New York City. So the idea of having a fight involving Naoya Inoue in New York City, it would be really, really attractive there, either in New York City or in Las Vegas. We pretty much got to see if we have that here pretty soon. But for the time being, they're probably going to have Naoya Inoue fit in a fight at the end of this year. And you know what? It's probably going to be against Sam Goodman, man. It's probably going to be against Sam Goodman. And for me, I'm like this, man. Sam Goodman was supposed to be the opponent for Naoya Inoue in this particular fight, but he was like, man, you know what? I ain't quite ready right now. So that's why you ended up having TJ Doheny. Now, Sam Goodman is still, for some reason, still up there at number 1 in the rankings, whether it's the IBF or the WBO, he's still number 1 in both of those rankings, right? So this could be like a mandatory defense there for Naoya Inoue, but I'm like, man, I'd rather, have him go ahead and go up against MJ Akhmadaliev. I'd rather have him go up against MJ Akhmadaliev just because, to me, I don't even think Sam Goodman would make for much of a fight in either way. So for Naoya Inoue, just had that one fight against MJ Akhmadaliev here, for that defense, I guess, because if you're going to have Naoya Inoue fight in the States in 2025, it looks like Top Rank may try to, introduce him or have him brought up to the featherweight division. Of course, you got, those competitors there in the featherweight division that are particularly under top rank. You got the world champion there, Rafael Espinosa. You got former champion Robeisy Ramirez. You got, of course, Bruce Shushu Carrington there. You know, as three opponents that's right there available. You know, for Naoya Inoue. Now, thing with what Bruce Carrington is, right? He is slated to, you know, have a fight on where over there at the theater in Madison Square Garden, right? Against Suleiman Sagawa in a few weeks. That's going to be a key bout. You know, Sagawa had that victory in his last bout against Ruben Villa back in July. So that put him in this position to fight Bruce Carrington. And that is going to be a, you know, highly rated fight there in the featherweight division. But if you're going to have Naoya Inoue there in the picture at 126, he probably, as an undisputed champion at 122, he could go right up and he could face Rafael Espinosa. And that would be an intriguing bout there at featherweight. You know, Rafael Espinosa, of course, is a tall fighter there in the featherweight division. He is there at what, 6'1", 6'1" in the featherweight division, Rafael Espinosa, right? And that would pose like a really interesting challenge there for Naoya Inoue if he's able to move up to 126 here in 2025. Because, you know, like I said, you got all these other contenders here at 122. I mentioned Sam Goodman. I mentioned MJ Akhmadaliev. I mean, they ain't gonna be all too hot. You know what I'm saying? And you know, by the time we have our brother here, Elijah Pierce, being able to be ready to challenge for a world title, I'm not sure if Naoya Inoue is going to be there. You know, of course, Elijah Pierce has mentioned that he would like that fight against Naoya Inoue there, but the way that they have built him up there in the ranks, by the time he gets to that opportunity, I don't think that Naoya Inoue will be there. Of course, you had Elijah Pierce on that OTX 10 on last Friday night there, so you were able to check out Elijah Pierce in action on Friday night. But here we're gonna see what happens with Inoue, because like I said, TJ Doheny, he has a little bit of pop behind his punch, but like he ain't really have enough out there. He didn't really have enough out there to really affect Naoya Inoue. And I felt like it was interesting from Tim Bradley, as he pretty much said, you know what, it didn't look like Naoya Inoue was very interested in this bout. Hey, I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case, man, because I don't like, it's been like what, the past couple of fights, maybe these fighters, that these opponents aren't really gaining the interest or gathering the interest there from Naoya Inoue to really be psyched up for the fight, or like it would be like some type of a real challenge or something. Now the thing there where he faced Luis Neri, I felt like that one was a a big fight. Of course, it was Tokyo Dome, and going up against Luis Neri, and you had the history of Luis Neri there over in Japan, so that probably had Naoya Inoue psyched up. But outside of that, these other opponents, I'm not sure, or I'm all too confident that those two opponents that he had, those last couple of opponents outside of that, were something that really had Naoya Inoue, very, very psyched to really get in there. Saying so. Doheny and Tapales. I mean, Tapales, that was for like undisputed, or having that undisputed thing going on or whatnot. But outside of that, really not that much there. So you got Inoue, there with 4 bouts at 122 pounds as of right now. Like I said, he had that win over Stephen Fulton last year, right? Then you had a Tapales bout to become undisputed there at super bantamweight, and then 2 defenses of the undisputed titles against Luis Neri and TJ Doheny, and that's pretty much there. It was like I was mentioning before, when you have those multiple opponents out there, at 126. That looks like that's the more attractive division here at this particular point. And I mentioned 3 fighters out there, but I also had, one other fighter that recently won the IBF featherweight title in Angelo Leo that had that knockout of the year, basically the knockout of the year for me, over Luis Alberto Lopez to win that IBF featherweight title. So you got a number of fighters out there at 126, number of options at 126 out there for Naoya Inoue, for him to, go ahead and campaign at 126 and see if he can become a world champion there at 126. Now, as far as like being undisputed, I'm not sure if that avenue will be, very easy for him, so to speak, but, we'll see. I mean, hey, he was able to face, Stephen Fulton for those unified belts at 122. So, the other guys that hold world titles there, like Nick Ball or Ray Vargas, I don't think it would be that, difficult to go ahead and have those fights made if possible, because, hey, Inoue is going to be the number one guy, the main guy with the money. So I don't see how that wouldn't, be much of an issue to have that, go ahead and take place. Feel me? So with that being said, Inoue, like I said, easy work. TJ Doheny, I don't know what they're gonna do. Like as far as like Doheny is concerned, like I mean, he like I said, he's there. He was 26-4, and had 20 of those wins by way of knockout going into that fight. So he had a good pop behind his punch, but this is the same guy that lost to Daniel Mbam by majority decision. So I mean that was pretty interesting bout there. But he also lost by unanimous decision to Mick Conlon. And for those that have followed the boxing source, y'all know how I feel about Mick Conlon. So I don't even have to really go that far about all that when it comes to Mick Conlon. But anyway, with TJ Doheny there, just getting washed, basically getting washed by Naoya Inoue. Now you just got to see if he just goes, back into the mix at 122 pounds. And hey, I'd say just wait until Inoue moves up to 126. Just wait until he moves up to 126 and then see if you could go ahead and compete for a vacant title that will be available once Inoue moves up to 126. It looks like it's planned for 2025. Now, you also had on that card there on Tuesday, co-feature bout, which had Yoshiki Takei versus Daigo Higa. And this was in the bantamweight division for the WBO bantamweight title. And that bout went 12 rounds. And listen, and I know that, it was, it took place, early in the morning, over Eastern time or whatever it is. Like it was around 7:30 or something, 7:30 a.m. or whatever. But listen, that was a fight. That was a very, very, very good fight. A very good fight, especially in the second half of that fight. You had, of course, Yoshiki Takei, with his 10th. This is just his 10th pro bout against Daigo Higa. Higa, had been there, as a competitor, a former WBC flyweight champion, lost to, Chris Rosales in 2018 there by technical knockout, but, had pretty much been out there within the super bantamweight division, off and on there competing in Japan. But he, really, really had Yoshiki Takei in some trouble, particularly in the back half of that fight. And he was able to score a knockdown there late in the fight. And that pretty much had it, really up in the air, as if, you had Yoshiki Takei winning that fight. But ended up being a unanimous decision in favor of Yoshiki Takei for him to hold those belts. But I have one great guest here with me on the midweek report that had an assessment of what was going on in Japan, but unfortunately, it didn't last that long on X as they almost literally X'd out his account. That's our guy Ezra, man.
It was short-lived. You know what I mean? It was a great breakdown, but it was short-lived. You know what I mean? But I'm glad moment. It was like a concert. You had to be there for the moment. You know what I mean? If you were there for the moment, it was great, but it was short-lived.
Yeah, man. Hey, you had to be there live. You just had to be there live. If you missed it, then you missed out. That's pretty much what happened there.
100%.
So, oh my gosh, Trill says, is Israel the new Can Man? Oh my God. All right. So, you're out there, on mobile, you're out and about. Let's talk about the fight between Naoya Inoue and TJ Doheny, man. Like I said, Inoue just beat him up so bad that he broke Doheny's back spinal. So what would your quick assessment of this fight would be?
What's interesting is because I didn't watch it live, so I saw everyone's kind of like how they felt, and I was like, oh man, it must be like he must not look too great. You know what I mean? He must have looked pretty sloppy in the fight. Must have been something he kind of, an opponent maybe overlooked or something like that. But as an Inoue performance, like this is not, like I said, there were certain things where, okay, like maybe he let I think Doheny work a little bit, open up a little bit, but when he really put it on, like you've seen all of the reasons why Inoue is great. You've seen his placement of shots. You see how parts where he chose to attack. Like these are all the things that why he's so special. He's putting power shots in with max speed, and not just like 2 or 3. He's putting like 7 in a row, and they're all moving, catching the guy while he's moving. Like not hitting him where he is, hitting him where he's gonna be at. Like this just the stuff like that. Just if you want to know why this guy's special, like this is why this guy's special.
Yeah, and that was one of my things is when I put Naoya Inoue in the pound for pound rankings, regardless of what his ranking would be at, is that he is like one of the more efficient fighters out there when it comes to offense, and he like has a lot, brings a lot out of his punches. So in those like 4th and 5th rounds, I saw like points there where he was just scoring very well, to the body and upstairs, and just making sure that he hits the target. Like it wasn't something where he was just throwing punches to throw punches at times. It was just like, if I'm throwing, I'm going to land. So that's basically how Inoue approaches a lot of his fights, is that he makes sure that he doesn't waste many of his punches at all. You know what I mean?
And like the shots he was placing, like at one he let, and if you're looking at it live, you don't slow it down. It looks like maybe that's blocked, like maybe that's land 100%. No, he sneaks it right in between the guard, right into the stomach. Like he's been, like even if you have a good guard, he's gonna find where your openings are. He's gonna set it up to where you move your hands just slightly, where you can put his shots in. Like a lot of things, he's setting other things up. Like he's not impatient. He's not. He knows it's going to be impressive. Like I think he has a lot of faith that it's going to be impressive the way he wins. But he's just there to take what you give him, and when you give up too much, it's going to be over. The fight's going to be over.
Yeah, for sure. And the thing about it is like, in this particular case, now you had TJ Doheny being able to land a couple of punches and land some good shots and good hooks, but it just didn't really, have Inoue in trouble there early in the fight. And so, when Inoue just went into a second gear, some people may say maybe it wasn't even second gear, then Doheny really didn't have much of a shot at all. So it was, kind of like about as easy as I kind of like, foresaw it to be. I pretty much like called it around like maybe a stoppage around round 6. So ended up being about a round more than what I kind of like predicted there in that particular fight. But, still it was in a way that really didn't have much trouble against Doheny at all.
Yeah, and like the thing too, like Doheny he's a smart fighter, like a terrible fighter. He's not like, oh, this is some guy you should run through. And just Inoue so much more gifted. I was saying the thing about like I saw what's his name, Elijah Pierce fight, and he's a good fighter. But the problem.
You're off and on there. I'm not sure. Yeah, I can't necessarily hear you there. Yeah, he's Ezra's there out on the road there, but he was mentioning Elijah Pierce, and I kind of like talked about it here a few minutes back. Like Elijah Pierce, had his bout. That was
Wait, can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can hear you. Yeah.
Oh, okay, my bad. So Elijah Pierce, right? Like he's a good fighter, and all these guys are good fighters. But in a way, compared to them, is like superhuman to them. So they're good fighters, but they don't have these gifts, the technical abilities that they have. He's as smart as they are, but then he has these physical gifts that just separate them. They are not on his level physically, and that's unless you could match him gifts wise, which none of these guys can do. They look ordinary. They are not going to look impressive, but they are good fighters.
Yeah, the thing is, as I mentioned there with Elijah Pierce, I'll probably see if I can get him on here pretty soon. I don't know if it'll be, later this week or next week. But I want to, talk to him about his, performance that he had on Friday against Jose San Martin there, where he got, a clear decision win. You've seen the elements of, Elijah Pierce's skills there, but how would it be there to like, how would it be to like go up against a Naoya Inoue therefore, like undisputed titles? But, as I mentioned before, I think by the time Elijah Pierce is going to be in position to fight for a world title, Naoya Inoue is going to be up there at 126 because, as Bob Arum said, like they have plans for Inoue to be over in Las Vegas in 2025, and I think that's going to be headlining an event there in 2025 against maybe Rafael Espinoza, because as of right now, I really don't see Espinoza having a rematch there against Robeisy Ramirez, because otherwise we probably would have heard something by now about that. So that looks like that's the plan there. Oh, you were saying something?
Do you think the Nakatani fight, not for that one, but the one after that, do you think they're building towards a Nakatani fight?
Not if Inoue is going up to 126, because if he goes up to 126, I don't see him going back down to 122. And I think that with Nakatani, it's going to take him about a couple more fights for him to go from being at 118 and then going to 122 and then being there at 126. But for me, I think that, and we've kind of like discussed this, that's probably the biggest bout that they have out there for both of those fighters. You know what I mean? Because currently you got Nakatani there at bantamweight. He's facing he's going to be fighting in October. They're against a guy that has a professional record of 76-1. But it looks like this guy probably is coming up from a division below or something like that. But hey, he's there competing in the bantamweight division in Tasana Salapat. But I mean, I don't know, 76-1 with 53 wins by way of knockout. I'm sorry, but we probably know that he's gonna get torched up, man. He's gonna get trampled. You know what I mean? So you had that, man. Now I did mention a thing there with the co-feature bout that did take place over there, man. You had Yoshiki Takei versus Daigo Higa there in the co-feature. I know that people were looking to see if we could see Andy Hiraoka versus Ismael Barroso. See, Top Rank. I mean, I know they weren't necessarily your fighters, but they should have done something in order to get that fight on ESPN Plus, but they didn't do that. But that Yoshiki Takei Daigo Higa fight was a very, very underrated fight. Very underrated fight. You said, Ezra, you didn't catch that Inoue fight live. Were you able to get any highlights of the co-feature bout?
No, I saw the Barroso fight, but I didn't see the co-main. So yeah, I saw the Barroso fight, but I didn't see the. Kind of went back and do the Inoue because I wanted to do the breakdown, and I spent so much time on that breakdown. I want people to know I spent a lot of time on that breakdown. So for them to remove it like that is really.
No. You can revisit. You can revisit it and give your breakdown.
No, I don't want to. I don't. But I'll just say, no, it hurt when they took it down. When Twitter took it down, I'm not gonna lie, I was feeling the pain. I was like, oh man, I see guys post whole movies. Post the whole movie as a Twitter post. It'll be up forever. You can check it for now. I post a little bit, like a 5-minute clip of a fight, and it couldn't make it.
Yeah, it just couldn't, pass the protocols there for Twitter or whatever it is, man. It was just bad there. It was just bad. I'll bounce back into that fight there with Yoshiki Take and Daigo in a bit. But yeah, let's go into that Andy Hiraoka and Ismael Barroso fight, where Andy Hiraoka, pretty much like he just like out hustled the guy that everyone said it was like the 140-pound version of Luis Ortiz. Oh wait, that's something else. But yeah, Ismael Barroso was there as the interim WBA super lightweight champion going up against Andy Hiraoka, but ended up losing by technical knockout. Pretty much lost every single round up until he was getting knocked down in that ninth round, and then before the end of that round, his corner ended up stopping the bout there. So Andy Hiraoka is now 24-0, defeating Ismael Barroso, and is now the new WBA interim champion at 140 pounds. And yes, they did make a little fuss about Andy Hiraoka saying that he wants to go and face Rayo Valenzuela, right? But as we both know, man, good luck in getting that particular fight, man. Good luck in getting that.
It seems like a to make that fight.
Yeah. Good luck in trying to do that. I know that I was hoping I would get another particular guest on here because before this fight did take place, we talked about it that if Hiraoka won, that could get him in a spot to maybe be in position for a potential fight against Gervonta Tank Davis in 2025. But we just have to see what happens here with Tank for his next bout, which he playing. Looks like it's planned for November against Rayo. So maybe you have Tank versus Rayo, and Tank win that fight. Then maybe we could see Tank in Japan. I mean, we've seen him over fighting in the UK before, but we haven't seen him fight in Japan before. And that would be something if he's able to have a fight over in Japan and headline about there. That would be crazy if they were able to do that. Absolutely crazy.
It also would speak to Japan's market right now, which is pretty damn strong for boxing.
Yeah,
the American star over there to go over there, and it does good numbers. Like this is a legit boxing place right now. This is a hot spot for boxing. Not including Inoue, that's Tank Davis, and it would be and it does good numbers, and Tank actually goes out there, who's a superstar over here. That really.
Yeah, that would really show how much Japan really loves the sport. If they're able to have something where they have enough money to bring Tank Davis over to Japan. Now, as far as the American market, how they would be able to watch the fight, I don't know how they'd be able to do that unless maybe I don't know. I have to check what the difference is, time difference or whatnot. and see if like, hey, maybe they could put it to where it's where it could, be in the afternoon or something like that, because it's like 14 hours. You feel me? So like right now it's like in the morning. So like maybe it would be similar to like maybe Australia or something, right? So you could have Tank Davis fighting in Japan, but it would be like, 12 or like 12 p.m. Standard time over in Japan, but it'd be like 10 p.m. here Eastern time. Maybe they could try something like that. I don't know, man. But I'm just throwing ideas out there. I'm just throwing ideas out there for that. You feel me? But yeah, that's what I was talking about there in that particular card. You had like a few other fights that did go down in that fight card. Jin Sasaki was there in the welterweight division, getting a TKO victory there against Komil Bala. He's there competing in the welterweight division, pretty much highly ranked in the IBF at welterweight, but hasn't really gotten any position to move forward in the rankings there at welterweight. And you also had Toshiki Shimamachi getting a win over Ryuya Sugawa in that one too. So that was pretty much the whole card over there in Tokyo. So moving past that, I know we have what's going on September 14th there with Canelo versus Berlanga. We have that fight card that's coming up for that. We'll get into that in a little bit. You also have on next Wednesday, ProBox. ProBox TV is back on Wednesday, Plant City, headlined by Lester Martinez versus Joeshon James. You had Lester Martinez, of course, was part of previous ProBox thing on June over in Washington, D.C., as he was able to defeat Carlos Gongora by unanimous decision there at the Entertainment and Sports Arena in Washington, D.C. Now he's going up against Joeshon James, who is there with a record of 9 wins, 0 losses, and 2 draws, coming from Sacramento, California. Has been training, a little bit outside of Sacramento, California, out there with Canelo Alvarez, and my thing is that I wanted to see if I could angle to go ahead and speak with Joeshon James before his bout comes up here, man. I've been trying to reach out to him at least for a good while, actually, but hadn't been able to connect with him. But I definitely do want to see if I could catch him here before he goes ahead and has this bout against Lester Martinez, because it's a very, very important bout there in the super middleweight division. You got Lester Martinez, that's ranked there, I would say right around number 3 in the WBA. If I go into the rankings here, number 3 in the WBA there. So that's like his highest ranking there from that super middleweight, from the sanctioning bodies. He is also ranked at number 10 in the WBC, but pretty much like out there just below Edgar Berlanga and Christian and Billy there in the WBA. So this could, really get him, there as far as like being in that position to eventually fight for a world title. But he has to, get through Joeshon James. Like I said, was able to have a couple of wins out there in that venue at Plant City. He had a bout there against Vaughn Alexander in Plant City back in February on a ProBox TV card. So you got 2 guys here in Lester Martinez and Joeshon James, that have been being able to compete there on ProBox TV. So we got to see like how he's going to be able to, or at least with Martinez, how we will be able to move forward here. Of course, he's there over at BNB there. You got Esau Dieguez there. That's been in his corner. He was at his corner in the last bout that happened over in Washington D.C. You got Brian Bomac McIntyre, of course. There we got to see if he's going to be in the corner this time around. And also you got Red Spikes, part of that team too as well. But we got Joeshon James. We got to see how it's going to be able to perform, man. Because as of I'm looking at it like right now with the chat, man. With Joeshon James, as of like, man, it's been a good minute since what, April. Yeah, so I gotta be able to see if I could catch him here before he heads over to Tampa Bay to get final preparations for that fight card. So that's that main event there on ProBox TV next Wednesday, September 11th. You're also gonna have Vladimir Hernandez. They're going up against Raul Garcia, and you're gonna have Jacob Gomez there versus Jerry Perez as part of that ProBox card. Now, we're planning on having a midweek report before at least those two bouts, that Vladimir Hernandez, Raul Garcia, and then that main event, Lester Martinez versus Joeshon James. We're gonna have a midweek report before that, but just looking at that particular card, of course, it's gonna be on ProBox TV, on YouTube or whatever it is, so y'all be able to catch it, and that'll be some good things there for y'all to go ahead and enjoy. But then later on that Saturday night in Las Vegas, T-Mobile Arena, you're gonna have Canelo Alvarez versus Edgar Berlanga for the unified super middleweight titles, as you're gonna have the WBC, WBO, WBA super middleweight titles on the line. Canelo Alvarez there, of course, long-standing champion. Edgar Berlanga is there currently at number 1 in the WBA. So that's how he's pretty much in the position to be where he's at in order to fight for these world titles. But, everybody knows that, we're supposed to have Canelo versus David Benavidez. And, of course, when the news pretty much that came out, it said like, hey, when David Benavidez said that he was going to be campaigning 175 pounds, that's when we basically knew that Canelo was not electing to face David Benavidez next. So that's why we got what we got right now. Shout out to Alberto over there in the live chat. Salute to you, right? But, like I said, we got what's coming up September 14th there in Las Vegas, T-Mobile Arena. Looks like tickets are pretty much going to be done. Like, it's going to be sold out still, So we got to see what goes on with that. Last question right here. Brother Alberto asks, hey, do you think what Turkey lowering the Shakur Cordino pay-per-view price to $15 will increase the amount of sales, and is a model like that sustainable? Will it increase the amount of sales? Probably. Is a model that's sustainable? I don't know. The thing about it is, like, you put it there at $15. I mean, that might be good. Unless if folks is gonna be like, yo, it's $15, man. We can see all these fights for $15. You go ahead and get it, $15. But here we are in the digital age, where, listen, if it's available, folks gonna do it. It don't matter if the pay-per-view price is $20, $15, $80, $89.99, or whatever. People are still gonna do it. People are still gonna try to stream it. So while $15 may not be much of a thing for a lot of us, you're still gonna have some that are gonna go ahead and try to log in or whatever it is and watch it for free 99. And it is what it is with that. But at least with this particular case here, I feel like that's pretty good. I mean, he's kind of tried the other things there, like I said, with the Day of Reckoning pay-per-view that happened last year. The Joshua versus Ngannou, the Queensberry versus Matchroom 5v5, the undisputed heavyweight championship between Tyson Fury and Alexander Usyk. Those particular events, they didn't really get the numbers that he pretty much won it. And then here, last month with Crawford versus Matrimov, those numbers were not, very impressive at all. So now it's like he's proposing, hey, maybe if I just go ahead and knock down the price to about $15, let's see how many people worldwide will be interested in buying these events. So we got to see how it goes. Now, as far as like the card in general, man, I mean, hey, you got the undisputed title fight on there, with Beterbiev and Bivol, right? You got Shakur Stevenson there, going up against Joe Cordina, and you know how I feel about that particular bout. That just ain't it, You got Jairo Pataya there against Jack Massey. You got the Wardley Clark rematch. You got Chris Eubank Jr. on there against Camille Zarameta. Ben Whitaker is on there. Sky Nicholson is on there. So you have a number of different fighters and different fights that are, part of this fight card. But, is it something where boxing fans worldwide are going to be like, yo, okay, we're really excited to pay $15 for a fight card like this? We'll see, And yeah, the Better Be a Bivol fight is, they're available for us on ESPN Plus, So I mean, at least for me, I'm looking forward to that. Just real quick, I'm hoping that Beterbiev is pretty much close to 100% because I want Beterbiev to win so bad. I'm sorry, I do. Anyway, he says with the purses being paid out, I don't see how he recoups on selling the pay-per-views for $15. I mean, yeah, but on the flip side, right? We, like, at least I reported and a number of other folks reported that with that undisputed heavyweight title fight, he lost upwards of about $100 million for that fight to take place between Tyson Fury and Alexander Usyk. Now, let's see if he stays with this $15 here for this particular event, that's scheduled for October 12th. Then he's planning on having another event in November. We'll see how that turns out. I haven't seen anything that says it's official yet. But then you have the Usyk Fury rematch in December. Let's see if that rematch is going to be $15 on pay-per-view. And if that rematch is $15 on pay-per-view, hey, maybe you really get, the interest that you need in order to, make the money that you pretty much want to make, But hey, in business, you got to know that you're going to be taking losses in many cases before you're going to, get profits. So for Turkey LLC, that's been involved in this for about a year now. He's seen significant losses in a number of the events that he's put on. Now, let's see if changing the price of pay-per-view is going to help out his product here from this point forward. So we got to see how that goes. Now, back to, what I was talking about with the card, September 14th, headlined by Canelo Alvarez versus Edgar Berlanga. You're going to have Erislan Lilar versus Danny Garcia for the WBA middleweight title. Caleb Plant and Trevor McCumbee. That particular fight that was supposed to be a main event at Caribe Royale Resort in Orlando is now part of this pay-per-view card. You got Stephen Fulton, former unified champion there at Super Bantamweight, competing at the featherweight division against Carlos Castro, who, also was, out there, particularly in the Super Bantamweight division or whatnot, and been, floating Super Bantamweight and featherweight. So you got that there, that's part of this card. And also you're going to have Rolly Romero versus Manuel James as part of this card as well. But the Stephen Fulton versus Carlos Castro is going to be part of the free portion of the Amazon Prime card that's going to be taking place on September 14th. So you do have that, man. Hey, he does need the Lord of I don't know. I don't know if Turkey could work that. I don't know if Turkey could work that there, Trill. I don't know if he could do all that. But yeah, our sale prices. I'm telling you, man, they're still crazy. It's still crazy. But as far as like the Jordans, I don't know. It depends on like if they brand new or whatever it is. But check it. Just real quick. Like if you damn, where is it? Like if you go down Texas City, right? There's like an outlet out there, Nike outlet over by Texas City, and you could probably get some good deals over there at that Nike outlet that's south of Texas City. There's like a Buc-ee's, right? And then there's like a shopping center out there that has like Nike store, the whole thing with the Polo, the Adidas store, and all that type of stuff. And you go to that Nike store, you might be able to get a good price on some Jordans or whatever it is. But outside of that, yeah, you ain't gonna be all too good with that. Said, oh yeah, they had recently announced this here. Shout out to Alberto. As far as like quick news there, Backroom Murders Aliyah versus Tim Tszyu will be at the Carib Royale in Orlando. Orlando, dog. We talking about Orlando, bro. See, that's the same venue that we would have had Caleb Plant versus Trevor McCumbee, right? But Trevor McCumbee had that injury to postpone the bout. So now that's why you're gonna have that joint there. You feel me? With Plant versus McCumbee as part of the Canelo card, and then now you got the whole thing there with Tim Tszyu, going up against Backroom Murders Aliyah for that 154-pound title, the IBF title, right? And that is going to be October 19th, right? And yeah, he said, I thought No Limit was paying Tim's purse, so wouldn't the event be in Australia? Hey, I mean, it's a split because remember, Tim Tszyu has had, a couple of fights, here over stateside that's been under PBC. Now, I don't know if maybe they say maybe a Murders Aliyah fight isn't, attractive enough in Australia, but I don't see why not. I mean, it would be something where Tim Tszyu would be able to be a world champion once again at 154, and in this particular case, like I don't know what they got going on, man. Yeah, man. Tensions Outlet Trill. Yep, that's the one I was at, yo. I'm telling you, got some good deals on some Air Forces over there, boy. Got some good deals on some Air Forces. But yeah, back on the joint here with No Limit. Like I said, it ain't No Limit Studios, okay? Yeah. Can I speak to P? P ain't here. No, it ain't that No Limit Studios, okay? Talking about No Limit Promotional Company. It's based in Australia. But yeah, Tim Tszyu, I don't understand it. I don't understand it. I don't get the venue at all. Carib Royale is, a spot where, folks will, go ahead and, chill out and everything like that. Good little resort. I think the WBA is going to have their convention over there by that resort this year over in December. But hey, I don't understand. Yeah, I just don't understand it because remember, given the complete situation, right? Check it. You had Tim Tszyu, of course, that lost to Sebastian Fundora on March 30th, and lost the WBO version of the super welterweight title. Then it looked like he was in position to face Virgil Ortiz Jr. That was going to be part of that August 3rd card in the BMO Stadium in Los Angeles, but he wasn't cleared to fight for that particular time. So then you had a whole thing once again with Erickson Lubin, right? And it looked like they were talking about, hey, we got this date. You can fight. You got to be on this date. What's up? Erickson Lubin said, hey, listen, I had an injury in camp. I'm going to recover. Let's push back a week or two or whatever it is, and then I'll be ready to rock. And Tim Tszyu's team was like, okay, not right now then. So that's why they're angling for this fight against Murtaza Aliev, right? So they can have this fight, and then hey, Erickson Lubin thought, hey, we could have something for December. Hey, you ain't gonna have Tim Tszyu coming off a fight October 19th and then turn around and fight in December. That ain't happening. So that's pretty weird. Yeah. Al Heyman is pretty much back, returned, and so he's cranking up the number of events. Yeah. I had a conversation with one of my good friends, a couple of my good friends, but one is like a major source here in the sport of boxing, and he pretty much like said the quote unquote the tribal chief is back, and so now we gonna get they're gonna try to get some things cracking, here when it comes to Heyman Boxing and Premier Boxing Champions. So a number of the events here that we're going to have planned. That's one of them. There with Tim Tszyu going up against Bakram Rosalia for that IBF Super Welterweight title on October 19th. Right. We're going to have a couple of more events here that are going to eventually be announced. I know that we're going to have our guy Devontae Tank Davis be involved in a fight or whatnot. So we do have that coming up as well. Was looking at a couple of things here, man. It says October 26th. It's going to have Tony Harrison fighting in Dallas, Texas. Okay. That's October 26th, right? Yeah, it's going to be Rayo. It's going to be Rayo. The thing with Lamont Roach, they're pretty much looks like they're going to have Lamont Roach headlining a ProBox TV card in DC once again later in November. So probably November 16th or something like that, because I know that here in the DMV area, we're going to have a Davis Boxing Promotions card, and we're going to have a Jeter Promotions card November 2nd and November 9th. One of them, the Davis Boxing Promotions card, will be at the Entertainment and Sports Arena in Washington, D.C., and the November 9th card will be over in Hanover, Maryland. So they're going to have, the November 2nd card for Davis Boxing Promotions will be at the Entertainment and Sports Arena. And then for November 9th, Jeter Promotions, they're at, the live casino there in Hanover, Maryland. So you're going to have, a number of those fighters that are under Jeter Promotions that in their last fight card that they had that include like, Ahmad Jones there, I think you're going to have Fox also, Michael Fox also, I think it's going to be scheduled to be on that card as well. I could pull it up pretty much. Let me see here. Yeah, I could, get that here real quick on the midweek report, right? So November 9th, you're going to have, like I said, the Jeter Promotions card. It's going to have, Emmanuel Lalim, Michael Fox there, of course, that was part of the main event and the co-main event there in their last Jeter Promotions event. You're going to have Josiah Giles on there, Ahmad Muhammad Jones on there, Brandon Chambers, Vitaly Gubkin, who was the opponent for Emmanuel Lalim in that last, fight card that they had. Ezri Turner is going to be on there. He was on the last Jeter Promotions card. Derek Davis, Nasheed Smith, Rasheed White, and Victor Williams. So you're going to have a number of a few, guys there that are, young talent, also with, experienced guys, also part of that Jeter Promotions card on November 9th. And, eventually here on the Boxing Source, you're going to hear from a number of these fighters here as I'm going to be communicating with, some of the fighters and also with Tony Jeter of Jeter Promotions reference to that event, right? So you got that. And then also, Davis Boxing Promotions will be in Washington, D.C. on November 2nd, right? So it's gonna be a pretty active boxing season here, at least here over on my side, because I cover all this type of stuff, because actually so it looked like it'll be November 2nd, November 9th, and then I may end up covering a fight of sorts on November 23rd in San Antonio, Texas. Yeah. Shout out to Joseph Aaron of Warwick Radio. A couple of weekends ago, I was over there in San Antonio for a fight card, and I actually ended up being one of the commentators of that card at Showdown at the Shrine there in San Antonio. So there may be a possibility that I might be back for another version of Showdown at the Shrine in San Antonio on November 23rd. So y'all be on the lookout for that. Okay. So yeah, that's what we had there. But yeah, I think who was it? ESPN Knockout. Let me see. If I go through ESPN Knockout or who is it? Who else is who they have there? That Chava Rodriguez, right? That's who I got the news as far as like that Riyadh season and Golden Boy card for November. That's through Chava Rodriguez, right? Now as far as like the thing there with Tank Davis and either Rayo Valenzuela or Lamont Rose Jr. It's gonna be Rayo Valenzuela. It's gonna be Rayo Valenzuela because like I said, unless if they had something crazy there for Lamont Rose Jr. to say, hey, I'm not going to defend my WBA version of the 130-pound title. I don't really see him relinquishing that belt to go up to face Tank Davis unless if they say, hey, we'll give you this money. Well, what up? So that that's the situation there on that right there. But with that being said, that's it for at least for what I have here on this version of the midweek report. Once again, I'm going to see if I could try and catch up there with our guy Joeshon James to see if we could talk with him before his upcoming bout against Lester Martinez next Wednesday on ProBox TV. And also, I gotta make a couple of phone calls here also to get a couple more interviews secured. But if you haven't done so already, we also spoke with Dimitri Salita of Salita Promotions, who was talking about his series there, Big Time Boxing USA, that he's been able to do in Detroit. Talked about the last one that was at Little Caesars Arena, headlined by Clarissa Shields, winning against Vanessa LePage-Jones to win that heavyweight title. And then also we'll have more coming up with Big Time Boxing USA. Actually, there's another one coming up here next week on Thursday. Yep. So we're going to have a lot of box action next week. Wednesday, Thursday, probably going to have something Friday. And then, of course, the Canelo event on Saturday. Hold up real quick there, Brother Alberto. Shout out to you. He says, at what weight will he fight Raul Valenzuela? 135 or 140? He prefers 135, but hey, thinks Raul valuable threat, so go up to 140. But hey, listen, we got to see how that works out because we know that he was able to compete at 140 or for the 140-pound title before against Mario Barrios. You have Rayo Valenzuela, of course, that had came up from 135 to 140 to basically defeat Isaac Cruz for that 140-pound title against a guy that was at 135 in Isaac Cruz, who defeated Rolly Romero, who came up from 135. So there you go, man. Shout out to Champ Ross of the Predictions League. What's going on with you, man? I almost nailed that Naoya Inoue TKO by the round. I almost got the round exactly right. That would have got me some extra points there on the Predictions League. You know what I'm saying? So we got to see, how the rest of the action fares out here for this week in the sport of boxing. We got to see, what is it? I had the thing here for the schedule for the rest of the week. That's on that was there through the Predictions League, but like I said, was pretty much like trying to nail down or knock down that particular fight between Naoya Inoue and TJ Doheny, and that was real close. You got some action on ESPN Plus tomorrow, right? You're gonna have some boxing that's on YouTube on Friday, and then you got Knockout CP Freshmart that's fighting on Saturday. That RCC. Where is it? The RCC boxing YouTube page will have a Russian card on YouTube. So for those boxing junkies, you get look it out. RCC boxing on YouTube. They'll be able to have some boxing there on Friday. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, next 3 weekends you're gonna be pretty much have a lot of action, right? I talked about it. We have this stuff that's going on this week. You have ProBox there with Lester Martinez versus Joeshon James headlining the ProBox card on Wednesday. You got the card that is going to be Big Time Boxing USA on September 12th, right? That's going to be on the Zone. And then you have Canelo-Berlanga Amazon Prime pay-per-view on Saturday night. Yep, that is Salia's card on the Zone next Thursday, and we talked about it there. So you could still check it out on the YouTube boxing channel. My interview with Dimitri Salia, where we talk about the full card that's there. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, next Saturday, Canelo-Berlanga, and then I'm looking forward to the following Saturday, Wembley Stadium, IBF Heavyweight Championship, Anthony Joshua versus Daniel Dubois. I can't wait for that. Y'all be on the lookout, because on that midweek, I don't know. Oh yeah, I'll do a midweek report, because the following day I'll be pretty much traveling, and then Friday I'll see what I could do on Friday. That Friday on the 20th, September 20th. I know that we're supposed to have what was it? Jaime Munguia versus Eric Bazinian there. That's supposed to be Friday there through Top Rank. So don't forget about that as well in the super middleweight division. But on Friday, yep, that's right. I will be there. I will be there. I'm going. It's locked. It's sealed. Whatever. It's all that. Credential or not, I'm there. Got to experience it. So that's what's going to happen. So yeah, I will be there live at that venue, Wembley Stadium, September 21st. It's going to be a crazy scene there. So for those that, follow the Boxing Source, on social media, I'm telling you, during that week, you could follow us on social media. We're going to have, either some clips, some interviews, see if we can get some interviews, depends on what happens there for Friday. And also for Saturday, I got to see, whatever it is, man. It's not that necessarily you got to be a big UK boxing fan. It's just that, you got to be a fan of boxing. At the very least, you got to have an experience that's outside of, your home country or whatever it is. So, they got some folks, that made the trip over to Japan, to watch the Inoue fight. People have been able to, for example, if you were living in the UK for a good amount of years, let's see, how you would be able to, take the trip over to the States to see Ricky Hatton versus Floyd Mayweather, or Anthony Joshua versus, Andy Ruiz Jr., something like that. So you know what? Yeah. Hey, but I said this before, Twirl. I'm saying it again. Ain't no way I'm staying there for no 6, 7, or 8 hours. That ain't happening. No, that's not happening. Listen, the first few fights, I'm sorry, I'm good on that. Because if you're gonna have a performance on this whole thing with this card with a rock band, a well-known rock band. Listen, I'm not staying there for 5 or 6 hours to wait for co-feature main event. No, I ain't doing it. That ain't happening. No, I'll be good with just a few fights, and then we'll see what happens with the performance, and then we get to the main event. And I'm telling you, I gotta check the seat out, but I gotta check the seat out. I think I got a pretty good seat, but listen, I'm a guy that moves around anyway, so it is what it is. Yeah, man, it's gonna be over. It's gonna be like over 95,000 people out there, man. Nah. Listen, when I go to baseball games, I don't sing the song for what happens in the 7th inning, and I ain't gonna be singing this. No, ain't no way. Listen, I'm telling you right now, there's gonna be anybody out there in the UK at Wembley Stadium, and they have a cell phone. I swear to you, you ain't. There ain't no way you gonna be able to record me singing this daggum song. That ain't happening. You ain't no. Nah, that definitely ain't happening. I ain't singing it. I ain't humming it. I ain't even tapping to it. I ain't dancing to it. I'll be the one with the cell phone recording, okay? The cell phone, camera, something. But I ain't singing it. That ain't gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? I wonder what happened. You know what? I wonder what happened to the people that won them cars. I wonder what happened to the people that won them cars, man. Oh, not only that. Hey, wait a minute. What about those 5 people? I think it was 5 people that won an all expenses paid trip over to Saudi Arabia. I don't know if they're supposed to be for that October 12th card or not, but they had that all expenses paid trip to go to Saudi Arabia. I wonder how that's gonna work out too, man. That's gonna be something. And let me tell you something, man. It like I ain't gonna go to the level of Jake Donovan right now, even though they squashed it. But if I run the turkey, I ain't holding his hand, man. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I'm not holding his hand. That ain't happening. That ain't how we do over here at the Boston Source. I ain't holding his hand. That ain't gonna happen, bro. That's not gonna happen. But yeah, that's gonna be still a great scene there, at least for the weekend over in the UK. Definitely looking forward to it. And like I said here, with these next couple of midweek reports here scheduled for Wednesdays, and the Boston Source podcast scheduled for Sundays, we're going to be preparing for a really busy next few weeks here in the sport of boxing with a lot of boxing cards that are going to be taking place here over the next, I'd say, like 20 days or so. So y'all definitely look forward to that here on the Boxing Source. Word. He said, hold up. Said the guy that won the Lucid car at the LA sold it on OfferUp. Oh my goodness, man. He didn't even keep the car. He sold it. He didn't even get I guess he didn't give it away to his relatives or not, man. He said, hey man, I need the money, dog. I need the money. I'm selling it. Oh man, that's crazy. That's crazy. But also though, that'd be the funny thing. Just real quick on that, pretty off topic, right? Some things you gotta think about when it comes to giveaways, right? Or particularly like say for example with cars. You can get a car, you can win a car, but that don't mean that you can keep it. Maintenance and insurance. The cost of those 2 things alone, yeah, it'll have you having second thoughts of keeping the car. So that's something there that consider when you have where you hear about people winning these new cars, or you had the whole thing there where the price is right. A new car. Yeah. Just think about that. But with that being said, that's it for me here with the Midweek Report. Once again, you can follow us on social media outlets. Like I said, through Instagram, Twitter. Also have Facebook and also the YouTube page here. We're also on Rumble. So you can hit the subscribe button on Rumble. I'm gonna see here if I could, try to get a mixture of stuff that's gonna be on Rumble there that won't be, available on YouTube. We might, have something like that going on with here. Also, if you can support the movement, sponsor the show, whatever it is. Maybe if you have like a company or whatnot, you can hit the Cash App or whatnot, and I'll come up with a good little ad for you here on the Boxing Source. So that's it from my side. With that being said, I'm out.